because I felt like that sometimes people would come in and a few months would go before, let's say if they did a blood test and found that something simple like a thyroid was off or something, that we had kind of wasted their time a little bit. So I went to Florida looking for a health screening device. There was a kind of a convention over there. And little did I know how much I was going to like open my eyes to this new world of like technologies. I hadn't realized that it was even out there. So I got the health screening devices. And of course, then what happened is you find out then so much information about what is where the body needs balancing or what's the dysfunctions. And then I felt like, well, now I need the other devices to help them fix that. So there's no point in giving them that information and then sending them off. So bit by bit over since 2015, I've been like, getting new technologies and saving up and then getting the next one. And I literally just became like a total geek for it, where I was like obsessed with, it's just amazing how like, it's like a jigsaw and you put all the pieces together of the, different things going on in the body and like digging deeper and finding out what's going on. Like, I just love that. It's really interesting. I just find it so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I get such a buzz out of this whole area myself, know, and how we can just, like, it's just like bringing all the strands of medicine in to work together, complementary medicine, acupuncture, technology, everything. But the main two things that jump out at me is light and sound. Okay, we did an article once called The Future of Medicine, and we interviewed Bruce Lipton, Lynn McTaggart, all these cool heads. And they were talking about photons of light, and we're made of stars and all this kind of exciting stuff, okay? And how we tune into the energy of a person. So can you talk about that, and how do you feel light and sound are the future of health?
Yeah, it's funny. I have to think for a second because you can go really deep. Okay, so like I don't want to go too deep and kind of sciencey, but I'm gonna. So basically, like
before you go, give people a sense of the gadget that you have there. That first of all, that does the voice technology thing that you have. That's fascinating. Start there, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I do have one device that actually works with sound therapy, and what it does, it basically has a database already that this guy is like a genius, Hans, who invented it. He would have spent 30 years going around and recording lots of different people's voices, and then like saving the information and being able to study the brain waves and being able to study like the character of that person. And he would have gone to all different places, like people, tribes in Africa who lived in communities, or he would have gone to like people who were in mental institutions, or just all kinds of different people. And then he has this database. And so when a person speaks into the microphone, it's able to record the tone of the voice, the space between the words, the harmonics. It doesn't care about what you're specifically saying. So that's really nice for some people who have had a trauma in the past, but don't want to dig it all back up again, and they find that too overwhelming. You don't have to go into it, but it's still going to find the areas that you're like, where your brain, left, right brain is off, what brain waves are more dominant, like your beta brain waves, if you're like anxious or worrying, and it can help balance them. So it's very good for people with like emotional disorders, like even insomnia, like anxiety, depression, things like that. But it'll do a specific sound file up for you that you can listen on your phone, and that sound file is going to help just rebalance things to make you feel more centered and more grounded and more yourself, basically.
And you see, this is brilliant because I tried this, right? So I basically downloaded an app to my phone. I spoke for 3 minutes, and then you gave me these recordings. I have one for the daytime and one for the nighttime. And this is to harmonize me again. And when I listen to it, I love listening to it. I use it before my meditation. And sometimes I put it on a loop. And the great thing is you can play it I could be playing it now if I wanted in my headphones. You can just play it in the background. You could be washing the dishes and you can play it, but you really feel like you're doing something important for your health. But back to kind of light and sound. What do you feel about light and sound?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about the light, okay? Because like with my first technology, the health screening device, one of the things it can look for is your minerals in your body, like sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, and the electrolytes and how they're working. And so basically, like when your sodium and potassium ions exchange, they cause the mitochondria of the cell to produce more ATP, which is the cell's fuel. And that's really important because with that fuel, your cells will use it to renew, heal, repair. And So where the light comes in is like, if you like, basically a lot of us are dehydrated. A lot of people are dehydrated. And it's because whenever the body goes into stress, it goes into this kind of survival mode where it's kind of holding on to, it's just holding on to all the nutrition instead of like spending it. So it's holding on to the water as well, because it's afraid you're going to get dehydrated. So it's not using it properly. And so the minerals or electrolytes can't travel properly through the body then. And so your sodium and potassium ions can't do that exchange as well as they should. And so if you do certain things to like support that sodium and potassium ions, they will start forming a cluster around the cell. And when they form a cluster around the cell, then they're able to pull light in from the environment. And when they pull that light in, that's when you get to that point where you have that cluster, that then you're getting that energy from the light. So you as a person can get away with a lot more. So if you see a person who kind of, has some bad habits, but seems to always be really full of energy and full of health, that can sometimes be because they have this cluster of ions. So they're able to, they're feeding off the light. So they have a lot more energy and their body is able to heal and renew and repair faster. But there is some people who would have kind of studied it and said, like, how can we take some supplement or something to improve that in ourselves if we don't have that cluster? And they actually went studying like fish deep under the sea who were too far away from the light. And so they started forming their own light. And there's sort of some kind of marine supplements that you can get then that have the phytoplankton in them. And that if when you take them as a supplement, it can kind of help create this light.
What is that supplement? What is that supplement?
Actually, the one that I get, there's an absolutely amazing website called oh God, I'll have to look in the other room now to see what it is. Activate Divine or something. I'm going to look it up and tell you in a second.
Yeah, we can post it in the comments afterwards. Yeah,
I'll post it. Yeah. But anyway, this website, like they sell all different kinds of products, but they sell this one that has the light in it, and they sell ones with crystals in it as well, because like obviously with crystals within us, it can help for them to kind of work together. And they actually put energy into their supplements as well. They do it a really advanced way where they can energetically charge the supplement before they sell it as well. So they're really good.
Okay, you're so on it, you're so excited about this stuff because I love it as well. And I'm always with the magazine finding out new things, new supplements, and I love all this.
Yeah, and this is the thing, Paul, is like I see with the technologies, I can test them. So like there's been over the years, there's so many supplements now that I can kind of rule out or ones that I think are better. And then for different people, different ones work differently for different people as well. So I have like when I put somebody on a supplement, then when we do the retest, we can actually see the graphs and it'll show us what has improved and where it has improved. So then, because sometimes people take supplements and they kind of feel, I don't really know if that did anything for me or not. But if you can actually see the results and you can measure it, then it kind of gives you the encouragement to keep going with it, because sometimes it can be a few months before you actually feel the effects, and sometimes people will run out after the first box of supplements and kind of say, I won't bother getting that again. I didn't feel much better. So it's really nice when you can measure it. Yeah.
Sure. You're based in Golden Lane there, right? And you're working from home at the moment in Dublin. And when people go to you, right? So you went through the whole thing with me. When people go to you, can you talk us through exactly how you work? Like condense it as much as you can. You start off with the diagnosis. Okay. Tell us about how that works and then where we lead then after that.
Yeah. So we start off at the same place every time, where it's just like the health screening. And it works through like an electric interstitial scan, which means that it's, if you take a blood test, it's testing the blood in the body and the information that's being carried through the blood. But this is testing the water in the body, basically. And it's able to test the differences. It's able to test the cells in their working environment. So then some of the tests can be more specific and more sensitive. So from there, we can see exactly what's working in the body and what's not, but we don't know why. So the next technology then is headphones that does a scan of the body. And basically what it's doing is it's scanning your brainstem, and your brainstem holds all of the information of everything in your body, because it sends commands telling the heart to beat, the lungs to breathe, and for every process to happen. So with that scan, it's able to check and see if you have any microorganisms, if you have any bacteria, funguses, or Epstein-Barr virus, which would be common, or any heavy metals. or specific diseases if it can even pick up on. And then we know very specifically where to target on that specific person to start with the healing. And in those tests, I can see if they have gastritis, and then usually that might mean that they have a stomach acid imbalance. So I would then give them an electronic capsule, a digital capsule, so they can swallow it, and it's able to. I've tuned it in, calibrated it to see what acid is and alkaline is, so it's able to register in the body what the baseline acid is. And then we give them something alkaline to drink, and we test how long it takes them to reacidify. So from that, we're able to tell like exactly what your acid levels are and exactly how many hydrochloric acid pills you need, if you do need them, or if you need something alkaline to balance it. And so there, and then otherwise I'll see if you have a food sensitivity, and then we can do a blood test for that to send that off to the States. Now, then from there, we would move on to the mental emotional stuff, which is the sound therapy, which I was talking about. That one, actually, the sound therapy one, you can actually just do, you can download the app onto your phone without even coming in, and you can talk into your phone, and then we can do the treatment that way. So that's a one where people don't actually have to come into the clinic. And so then I have a few devices that would do let's say charging up the cells, like I was talking about the sodium potassium ions. I've got 2 machines that can work on the mitochondria in slightly different ways to kind of recharge the cells. So like if you had broken bones, torn ligaments, torn tissue or muscle, or if you just had a really sluggish organ, it's able to just, it's like recharging a battery. It just puts electricity in there, nanovolts of electricity that are so tiny that the tissue doesn't absorb it.
That I put on my hamstring. What was the one I put on my hamstring?
That's called the Papimi. That's okay. The Papimi, yeah. So that's the first one, and that's kind of the stronger one. The second one is a Mediterra mat, and that's the one that often people will buy and they can use at home, because then they can use it every day, and it's more like a maintenance thing. If I had clients with cancer, for example, or something like that, they would often buy that one, and then it's just like they can do a daily therapy themselves at home.
Sure.
So I have it.
Lisa, that you're waiting on the part for. That's the one that, say, if I had an overbalance, that's the headphone. Yeah. If I had an overbalance of candida or something, it would actually get rid of the candida straight away by frequency.
So that one just detects that it's there. Yeah. And then I have a Rife technology as well, that then the Rife technology, you can tune it in. It's like a plasma light that you can choose into the exact frequency that specific, let's say, for example, candida resonates at. And then it causes that vibration to come out through the plasma light, and it causes resonance between the two, like when a woman sings the perfect high C note and the glass vibrates until it shatters. So it's like that, and the virus or bacteria vibrates until it shatters. So it kills it basically. And then again, we can put the headphones on and do a retest a day or 2 later to confirm that it's gone. But with something like candida, you'd need a couple of treatments.
You need a couple of treatments. Yeah. And also, in terms of diet, you're a big fan of Barbara Wren's work, and I explored a bit of her after I left you. So her whole vibe is, it's almost like she's talking about kind of nourishing the cell, going right into the cell for your nourishment. Yeah. And I've been using a bit of the dietary stuff, and it's really, really cool. So talk about the influence of diet and why you so admire her work.
Yeah, both her and Anthony Williams from the Medical Medium. I really enjoy following the two of them. And in fact, with Barbara Wren, it was actually a client of mine who had said to me, do you follow Barbara Wren? And she was like, everything you're saying is very similar to what she's been saying. So that's why I went and started looking into her. And then she just takes things to even another level, because she's been doing it for 40 years now. So we're totally on the same wavelength. And then she has it's like kind of getting extra little nuggets and putting pieces together more deeply. But so basically, there's 2 ways you can look at things. Like with food, you can have a healthy lifestyle, or you can look at food for medicine, which is a kind of a completely different thing. And then if you're looking at food for medicine, it's like everybody nearly has the exact same, like we all have toxins in our body. So there's certain foods that can really support the body in eliminating the toxins and in recharging the cells and eliminating inflammation, balancing acid, and all those things we all have, and getting extra oxygen in, so we don't have anaerobic cells. So if you can do those things with food, you kind of specifically choose food that can support all those different aspects of the body, then the body in its innate wisdom can self-heal, self-regulate, and it can kind of almost take care of of anything. So rather than you kind of constantly having to put out fires here and there, trying to treat this specific thing and that specific thing within yourself, if you do these base diets, they're just getting deep into the root of the body, and they are doing the healing from there. So then your body has that capacity to just, thrive from there.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's one thing that seems to traverse every single diet thing: the lemon juice in the morning. And that seems to be in everything. It's the foundation of everything. So I just decided to start doing that from now on. And then the celery juice. The celery juice is got the salts, the natural salts that we all need.
Yeah, exactly. Like the lemon juice, basically the idea there is like when we're asleep at night, our liver does a big detox. And if you get up in the morning and you go straight into something else like a coffee or straight into breakfast, your liver just soaks back up all those toxins because it doesn't want to just leave them floating around your body and you haven't flushed them out. So if you have the lemon water in the morning, it just flushes out all those toxins that your liver has been working on all night. And then the celery juice, like that would be a big one with Anthony Williams, but he talks a lot about Epstein-Barr virus. And cytomegalovirus is the same family, and people who get shingles are like, a lot of the time it can be dormant and you don't even know. People can even be born with it because it can come down through, come down through the family line. And with that, the celery juice can kill that. And celery juice can kill, basically celery juice regulates the stomach acid. Yeah. So it changes the environment of your body. A lot of this diet stuff, what it's doing is if it's changing the environment of your body to an environment that those bacteria, viruses and things don't enjoy living in. So they just sort of kind of pack up and leave, if you like, because the environment isn't suitable for them anymore. They like kind of acid and they like inflammation and they like no oxygen and, that kind of thing. So if you change that environment, it's going to help. And the celery juice, what you said there, it's the only vegetable that has all 12 tissue salts that your body needs. So for that reason, it's just really, it's like the perfect one.
Well, I just wanted to give people a taster of what you're doing, but I just wanted to say I've tried one session and I think the stuff that Lisa has is really cutting edge. It's in Dublin. I think people come from all around the world to try out some of the stuff.
They do, yeah.
So it's really amazing that we have it here in Ireland. So if anybody out there would like to explore this work, it's fascinating and it really gets to the root of what's going on with your body and then gives you the tools to repair it, and it's nothing too drastic. Like I fell off the wagon a couple of times with the diet, but I love I didn't really like to say, the first 9 days I had to stop eating oil, which was interesting because we're kind of told all the time that fish oil and all those oils are so good for us. But to take a break from it is really good as well, right?
Yeah, because you see, if you give up the oil for 9 days, basically we need essential fatty acids as part of our diet. It's super important. And so your body will go looking within itself, like where it can get this fatty acids that it hasn't consumed through food. And then it's going to go to the liver, and any fatty liver there, it's just going to clear out. It's going to consume all the fats from there. So it's like doing a big detox. And then after that, when you do go back having your healthy oils and fats, your body has a better capacity to use them and absorb them better. That's kind of the idea.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put in the comments all Lisa's contact details so you can find her, no problem. If you have any questions, put them down there in the comments as well. And Lisa, will you check back if people have any questions you can answer? Brilliant, and connect with people as well, yeah. Is there anything you want to say before you go that we might have missed? Just to anything? Like I would like to ask you, give us your top 3 tips that people can do right now for their health before you go. Yeah. And anything else you just want to add in would be great.
Okay. With the health screenings, I would say, I wouldn't wait. Like if you wait until you're sick, then it's much harder because you need energy. You need energy in the beginning to make these changes. That's what I feel like, and it's much harder if you're fighting something. So you need mental strength and you need physical strength to be able to, because when you're doing the detox, you kind of feel like all that stuff is coming out, and it's hard. It's hard to motivate yourself to stick with it in the beginning. So that's what I'd say. Anyway, as a tip, I'd say slow down. Like I think the last year has taught us all. It has taught me as well. But because when we slow down, then we can listen. And listening is so important, because if you listen to your body, it's talking to you, and you're going to, I would even lie down in bed now and I would be talking to myself nearly, where I'd be just tuning in the quietness and tune in, and you get a sense of where is kind of little spasms in the body, or where, you know, it feels colder or it's not flowing. And from that, you can tune in and you can kind of get a sense for what you need and tune into what you're eating. Like sometimes people aren't even aware that certain foods they eat, they feel really bloated afterwards, or they feel really sleepy afterwards. So like just slowing down and listening and watching things like that, observing, you'll be surprised how much you'll know yourself. We know it, like we know a lot of it inside ourselves. It's just trusting it. So just experimenting with different things and seeing what suits you, because it's different for everyone. You know, it's not a one size fits all. Even with the food, it's not. So that's what I'd say. Yeah, that'd be my tips.
Brilliant. So thanks, folks, for tuning in. We will have an article on Lisa in the next issue of Positive Life, which is out in the first week in December, and Lee Harris is on the front cover, and we chatted to him about some cool stuff, and also Wendy Kennedy and Lisa Morrissey, because she's gonna will expand on the article. Is actually really nice, and it covers some really good basics. But I would highly recommend, if you want to really, and I think what Lisa just said there, prevention is way better than cure. You know, I mean, I always go to this Amatsu guy, and he always says, "Come to me when you're well," because you can do so much more with the body when it's you know, when it's not in a kind of a fighting mode, as you said. But yeah. So thanks, Lisa, for coming on here today. I appreciate it, and thanks, folks. We'll see you next time. Yeah, cheers.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in.
You know, Lisa.
Good to talk to you.
Cool. We're good. Okay. So we're off Facebook now, and that's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.